What's up everyone? Adam here from Cape Crawlers, and this is the Bronco build part 3. Phase 3 of this build. So just a quick recap of phase 1 and 2. So what we've done thus far, we did kind of your basic mods. We did wheels and tires. We did long travel suspension. We did the upgraded servo. We did an upgraded motor. We've also done some smaller things. We did the RC all-wheel drive steering linkage. We've got an aluminum servo horn. We've got some brass diff covers front and back. And we've also got the Trial hex extensions in the wheels. So we've added width, we've added suspension travel, we've added power, we've improved our steering. So now we're just going to kind of get into fine tuning. So I've also been messing with this thing during the week between videos too. So let's take a look at the upgrades thus far, kind of what the plans are for this phase, and also what I've been tweaking and some of my thoughts from the previous week since we did the last build. So let's take a closer look. So we did just a quick overview of what we did in the last phases. Let's talk about some of the things that I've been tweaking kind of along the way since the last video, and some of my key takeaways from the mods that we've done thus far. So first off, let's talk about the steering. So when we did the Emax servo, one of the things that I noticed after filming the video last time was that I had some clearance issues with the bumper. So when it sits, it's actually hitting the frame rails on the servo mounts there. So what I've had to do, I did two things. So I had to trim my bumper mounts. I had to cut a small amount off my bumper mounts in the back here so that the servo mounts could clear those. And then I also had to really file down and sand down the edges of the servo to avoid those clearance issues. Now I think I am still getting it a little bit. You can hear it, but I think I'm at this point I've done all that I can do without sacrificing strength of the bumper mounts and grinding down the frame. So it's one thing to keep in mind with the Bronco. At least in my instance here, I'm running into clearance issues with the servo. So you know what that did also, because the front end was sitting up higher, it skewed my ride height. So the back end was at full droop like that, and the front end, as you can see, sits up significantly higher. So what I did was I threw the stock springs in the back, and I used the front springs, which are much softer than the stock back springs. So I put the stock front springs on the back of these double barrels. And as you can see, that gives it some significant height in the back, but it also levels out the stance and gives it that nice kind of scale, even look that I like. Performance-wise, I think it hurt me from a performance-wise. We'll get into the course run here in a minute, but I feel like my vertical climbing has suffered, which I thought the springs would actually improve, because I've found that when you put springs in the back, you generally have better vertical climbing because you get kind of that push against the body so that you don't sag and flip over. If you've got resistance here, you've got more resistance to push against so you don't flip over backwards, but it doesn't seem to be the case here. I feel like my vertical has suffered. I've also changed out some diff covers. So you can see we had the Hot Racing diff cover on here before, but I'm not a big fan of the gold brass look. So I had some Endura heavy diff covers lying around, so I swapped those out front and back actually. So we gained some weight. These are 10 grams a piece. So we had a Hot Racing 9 gram weight on here before, and we had a Coda Racing 5 gram in the back. So these diff covers added some weight, but it's still not enough to combat kind of the vertical climbing challenge that I'm running into. So let's take a look at what we're going to do for phase 3. So phase 3, we are going to add some more weight to the front with some brass steering knuckles, and we're going to do aluminum steering linkage, and we're going to do a 4-link conversion in the front. What that is going to do is hopefully give us some more stability, a little more articulation, and these high clearance links are going to hopefully give us some more ground clearance underneath the body here. So you'll see, we'll do a comparison afterwards, but they should make it nice and flush up in here to eliminate some hang-ups on the rocks underneath the body. So this is going to be fun. These are good mods. I've had good luck with the steering knuckles. We want to get some more weight over the front, particularly right down low around the wheels, to hopefully again help us improve that grip and those vertical climbing ability. And then always looking for more flex and articulation. So these are going to hopefully, with the 4-link and how I set up the O-rings, which we'll get into later, give us some more articulation and some smoother action in the linkage. So let's do a baseline course run with it as is, and then we'll throw the upgrades in and then do another run to see where we're at. Right, here is the Bronco build phase 3. So we installed the high clearance links and the brass steering knuckles. I also messed with the rear suspension again. I really wasn't happy with how it performed with the springs in the back after just messing around with it during the day today. So we managed to get a little more clearance in the front with the servo and took the springs out of the back, so we're full droop in the back again. It's a little raked out towards the back, but that's okay. Yeah, I'm anxious to get it on the course to see how these upgrades work and to see if taking those springs out got us back some of that vertical climbing ability. So let's take a closer look at the upgrades. Let's take a look at that. Look at the linkage on that first. Isn't that gorgeous? These high clearance links by Endura in the red finish looks so good against the Bronco, and it's the red accents coming together really looks nice from an aesthetic point of view. And with the black Trial weights in there and the red ring with the bead locks, the whole thing from an appearance package looks just drop dead gorgeous, which is one of the things I really wanted to maintain with this build, was that scale aesthetic look, and to keep just the beautiful look of this little rig that Axial did out of the box. We didn't want to sacrifice that. So I think we've built on that with this nice anodized aluminum pieces. So they look really good. So the couple of benefits of the linkage is, obviously you get the higher clearance. You can see how they are angled pretty sharply here when they attach to the axles. So from a clearance standpoint, it's flat right across the skid plate. So you've got this big surface area of just flat area where prior you would have your linkage would coming down at an angle here. So you just get a sharp bend there in one spot rather than a gradual longer angle there, which gives you more clearance. So you're not banging up against these links on rocks and things as you're going over obstacles. So there is some function there. One of the big things we did the 4-link conversion in the front. So this is where the Y-link was, right behind the drive shaft. This Endura kit provides 2 individual links that attach to the outside of the servo mount. So they bolt right on the outside here and converts it to a 4-link. And what that does is it gives you a little more articulation, but it really eliminates friction with the drive shaft. So with the Y-link, when you were at full articulation, you'd rub up against the drive shaft. But in any case, you do get a little extra articulation there with the 4-link. You can see, let's try a flex test while we're here. We see what we've got, if we gained anything. So I didn't do this kind of before, but we've got 4 tires, easy. Let's see, 5. We can get 5, pretty good, I think. We can claim that. I like that. It's a good gain. So we're flexing pretty hard here now. Bronco's doing good. Really happy with this setup here. The steering knuckles, these nice black brass steering knuckles here. They're clean. You almost wouldn't even know they were brass once you got real close. They are just this nice black coating on them. They weigh about 8 grams a piece. So we did 8 grams with the knuckles. We gained a gram on the diff cover in the front. We gained 3 grams in the back. So 16, 17. We added about 20 grams of weight here. The links are minimal because they're aluminum. So they don't add a lot of weight. But I'm excited to try this out now to see how it is. It just looks fantastic. So great parts, great fit and finish. Went together really good. Oh, one of the things about the linkage too. When I put the links on, I put 1 O-ring on there. And I do that just so that the links move a little more freely. You've got some play in the links so that they operate super duper smooth. Like, it's hard to tell from the camera, but the linkage operation on these is just silky smooth. So it should really translate well out on the rocks from a handling and articulation standpoint. All right, so that's enough talking. So let's get this thing out on the indoor course and see what this all amounts to with the build. Nice. Oh, look at the flex on that. Way more stable through the articulation area there. Oh, nice. Way easier. Oh yeah, way more stable in the vertical too. Still getting stuck there though. There we go. stable on that side hill too. Oh man, I'm so impressed with the vertical there. Yeah. Nice. I want to do this section again because one thing, pay attention to how it goes through here. It was rocking back and forth really severely before we did these mods, but check out how smooth it operates in here. Way better articulation. It gets up over this side hill pretty easy too. Check this out. So I gotta say that this set of mods right here was probably one of the most impressive mods that we've done, or a couple of mods that we've done. I was not expecting the performance gains that we got out of that, but this thing performed fantastic. The way that it was so smooth over the I call it articulation alley, the really bumpy spot on the flat in between all the course obstacles. The way it articulated through there was so smooth, and it didn't heave back and forth like it did prior. If you watch the previous videos, it was really kind of clunky through there, but now it was just super smooth. It had tons of range of articulation, looked fantastic going through there. And then the grip on the uphills, I'm so excited about how it performed on the uphills. I don't know if it was the taking the springs out again, the added weight in the front, but whatever it is, the combination worked really, really well. I'm super impressed with the climbing ability, both the side hilling and especially on the vertical. And I was really bummed out earlier today when I was trying it on the outdoor course and things, and I was pretty discouraged, but I'm totally done a 180 now, and now I'm super thrilled with this thing again. So just a great set of mods here. So just to recap what we did, the high clearance linkage was about 20 bucks. The brass knuckles in the front, I think, were 16. So we had a pretty inexpensive mod week this week. Our budget is usually around 50 bucks. We came in about $36. So good from a budget standpoint, amazing from a performance standpoint. So I'm really happy with how this phase of the build went. I'm also on the fence about the tires. These look great from a build perspective. They're soft and squishy, but they just don't grip like I wish they would. I find myself a lot of times wishing that they would bite more, especially on the rocks. So I might look at swapping out the tires, getting something a little more aggressive. Possibly the Patagonias from RC 4-wheel drive. I like the looks of those and the width and kind of the appearance of those and the performance as well. So next phase, thinking focus on some more scale aesthetics. At this point, we've done purely performance for the most part. What I would like to do is get a matching spare on the back. So I have to buy another set of these red wheels, but they're only about $20 on Amazon. So buy another set of wheels and then have a matching red spare on the back. I'm probably going to do some rock sliders, both from an aesthetic standpoint and also just for function, because the body's getting beat up pretty bad here, and I'd like to have some protection on the rails there. So that's might be the next focus, is just kind of take a step back from the performance and look at the scale aesthetics of the build and put on some somewhat functional but mostly aesthetic pieces for the next phase. Pretty happy with how it's performing, so I'll have to step back and think about what I want to do for performance mods next, because it's in a really good spot right now. right, that's going to wrap things up for phase 3 of the Bronco build. As always, I'll put the links down in the description for the products if you want to check them out. Please like and subscribe. It really helps me out. We're going to keep growing the channel. We're going to keep building up the Bronco. Really appreciate you guys watching. Please let me know in the comments what you think of the build and any suggestions about what I should do next. I really appreciate your feedback, and I want to hear from you Bronco owners. Let me know, again, what's worked for you, what's been a really impactful mod for you. I'm really looking for ideas here as we get a little deeper into the build. We've kind of done the surface stuff, kind of the low-hanging fruit, if you will. So now we got to really think hard about what we want to do and see how much we can eke out of this thing going forward. So let me know down below. As always, appreciate your time. Thanks for watching. Stick around for the next episode. We'll see you then.